What is up, everybody? Escape211 here. We're on the test server today, and I'm just playing back some footage that I had earlier with the Particle Beam 16. Now, we already saw the Particle Beam 8. Felt pretty underwhelming and lackluster, even though the mechanics of it are kind of different and cool. So the same applies here. Sadly, adding up extra energies doesn't really make it a whole lot better, in my opinion. And just in general, I feel that even though I tried it this way, this was probably one of my better matches with it in terms of like survivability, just playing through regular CPC matches at the top end, but it still wasn't great. And if you saw my build when I put it up, sadly, I did not have a maxed out pilot for this. I ran out of the pilot marks on the test server, so I wasn't able to max out a beam pilot, but I don't think that would have changed a whole lot of my overall experience with this weapon. I think it's a very cool one, and it's fun to play, and the mechanics of it being different like make it feel, you know, versatile, but it does not perform better than other legendaries. I actually think it performs worse than the grav beam, even though in some sense it could still work against bots. I don't think it's going to work better in any other sense against players, and I think just because the uptime of the grav beam 16 is going to do better, because this has a little bit of a downtime in between firing its blast version. It does have continuous fire, but its beam is really, really weak. You could keep the beam on forever, but I mean, it is weak, or I think actually a little weaker than like a stasis beam, which is only a epic. So its beam function is not that strong. So even the ability to keep it going continuously is not enough of an upside, in my opinion. So I just don't really see this weapon performing well for people overall. Like I said, it's a fun one, but where I would say it potentially sits, I mean, if I'm being generous, I would say low end of A tier, but it's probably a B tier weapon. Like I said, grav beams are going to be ahead of it. I do wonder if even some of the lesser legendaries like a carbine would do better than this. But this is a 16, so I think this one would perform better. But in terms of how the weapon is overall, maybe not. But I don't know. I mean, that one is kind of interesting. But if I'm already trying to compare this with carbines as like the way to compare this, and don't really know which is better, that's not saying a whole lot for the weapon in general. So yeah, I just don't see this doing well. I did try to play around with a few different builds on this. I tried this with Scorpius, and given Scorpius's range of his ability, in some ways it was better, in some ways worse. I did try it also. I mean, I guess you could run it with Panther. Panther is probably good, but there's a lot better things you could run with Panther than this weapon, in my opinion, so it doesn't really help its case a whole lot. You could run this as a 16-8 on something mid-size, like Aegis. I actually tried this with Aegis, and it wasn't too bad. I even tried it with a Scout, like a Shadow, for the fun of it, and it's just not outputting enough damage. So yeah, I don't see where this is going to fit well into the meta, and it just feels like it generally underperforms, even though it has some added versatility to it overall. So you guys can let me know what you think, if there's certain things you think this could work or what you would want to try. But overall, I just feel this is generally going to underperform and probably not worth anybody's time unless they do some changes or buffs to it. But feel free to comment below, and we'll see you out there on the battlefield.